Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
New this noon, we now know the name of the elderly couple found shot to death at their home. The connection investigators believe the shooter may have had to the victims.
Plus, honoring those who served for our freedom. This is a live look as President Biden commemorates Veterans Day at Arlington National Cemetery. We'll show you how people at home and across the country are honoring our veterans.
And we've had mild weather lately. We have a front that's about to move into our area that's going to drop our temperatures to cooler than we've seen for a while.
And a good afternoon on this Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thank you for joining us. The Northampton County Sheriff's Office is investigating the murder of a couple near Gaston. 72-year-old Michael Powell and his wife, 70-year-old Carolyn Powell, were found shot to death in their front yard last week.
WRAL's Heidi Kirk is live in Northampton County right now. And Heidi, this couple was beloved by their entire community.
Jeff, Renee, that's right. Carolyn and Michael Powell have a reputation for being beloved throughout the entire community, serving their community in many ways. In fact, people tell me that they never missed a service here at their church outside Gaston. Now, go ahead and take a look at your screens. You're going to see the map of where they were found dead in their driveway of their home with gunshot wounds to their head last week. Now, upon investigation, deputies from the Northampton County Sheriff's Office arrested 35-year-old Rivaris Butcher of Gaston. He's charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and charged with taking their truck as well. Investigators say Butcher was a neighbor and a relative of the Powells. Sheriff's deputies say it's a case that's shaken up this entire community.
It's a terrible situation. Anybody that would go out and take 2 individual lives, much less 2 individuals in their 70s who's lived a prosperous life, who, to my understanding, has never caused any harm with anyone. To go out and take their life is brutal. It's a terrible crime in this county.
And Jeff, Renee, there's still a lot of questions that still remain here. The biggest one that we have is about what led Butcher to kill this couple that he was related to. We've been pushing the sheriff's deputies involved in this case for answers, and we'll continue to bring you updates. Now, of course, Butcher is due in court here in Northampton County on November 19th. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, live in Northampton County.
Horrible details all the way around there, Heidi. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon will bring mild temperatures. Cooler air, though, is on the way, and Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now with a look at our next chance for frost, Elizabeth.
Yeah, we're likely to see at least some patchy frost by Wednesday morning, Wednesday and Thursday. Highs will be in the 50s, and it's been a while since we've had, 2 days in a row with temperatures in the 50s for highs. It will be the coolest since last March. Our normal high is 65. We're looking at 75 for this afternoon, and then we begin the cool down tomorrow in the 60s Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday, those highs will be in the 50s, and the morning temperatures will be chilly as well. You can see a cold front that moves through today will help to bring our wind to northerly. That's going to help to push in some chilly air. We'll feel that Wednesday and Thursday. And then, of course, Thursday, another front comes through with a chance of rain, which we'll talk more about coming in, but it's going to lock in even more cool air across our area. So a couple of fronts come through to help to drop our temperatures. So Wednesday morning, 32 in Roxborough, 34 in South Hill, 36 Durham, 36 in Rocky Mount. So our northern counties will have the best chance of seeing any frost. From Raleigh southward, we're upper 30s to around 40, so lesser chances. We've had a very warm autumn so far. We've only seen one morning in the 30s so far at RDU this year, and typically for the fall, which actually meteorologically just ends in 2 weeks, we see 22. So we're way behind in terms of cooler temperatures. So Wednesday morning, 38, we'll have at least the possibility of some frost, and then for the remainder of the week, our temperatures stay chilly, but probably not frosty. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit more about Thursday's front and how much rain we could see.
Elizabeth, thanks. This morning, a long-standing tradition honoring veterans took place in Raleigh. WRAL's Laura Levine was at NC State's Bell Tower on Hillsborough Street this morning.
The NC State Memorial Bell Tower here is a cornerstone dating back to 1921. It was built to honor the NC State alumni who have lost their lives to military service. And that legacy lives on with many people gathering around the bell tower today before dawn.
No time! No time!
Runners on their mark, taking off just before sunrise.
It's a good 3-mile run, get you up and get you going first thing in the morning.
Jogging in unison for one common purpose.
Veterans Day is important just not for the soldier, but for the families and the communities that support them.
The Jeffrey Wright Military and Veteran Services Office and NC State's ROTC led this annual memorial with even the university's baseball team hitting the pavement. Active service members like Alan Boyett says he's filled with gratitude to experience this fellowship and witnessing the dedication of the next generation.
It's good to be around friends and colleagues and fellow veterans, and the real excitement is from all of the ROTC cadets from the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines.
To cap things off, a ceremony with a special wreath presentation and musical selections surrounding a historical monument dedicated to remembering the dozens of NC State alumni who sacrificed it all for our freedom.
Thank you for all the men and women that stand before us that chose to serve this country so proudly and so bravely and represent all the people's names in this bell tower.
And the ceremony here today wrapped up with the NC State's Pipes and Drums Band playing Amazing Grace. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
And just moments before this newscast, President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris honored veterans at a wreath-laying ceremony at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. First Lady Joe Biden and Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff were also there at Arlington National Cemetery. And right now, this is a live look here as President Biden is delivering remarks at the cemetery's amphitheater. This is a day that began being called Armistice Day, but in 1954, Congress changed the name to Veterans Day. And we are saluting our nation's veterans, those who serve or have served, as well as the loved ones at home that support them. You can honor the veteran in your life by sharing a photo with us. Just scan that QR code on your screen right there or head to WRAL.com/yourvoice. And we'll be showing them all day long.
Covering Wake County, the Sheriff's Office has a new warning about a scam involving cryptocurrency. WRAL's Noah Klein is here now with what to watch out for. Noah.
Renee, a few keys here. This Sheriff's Office is saying these scammers are posing as employees calling for payments in crypto. Deputies say these scammers are even able to change that caller ID to make it seem like the calls are coming from the Wake County Sheriff's Office. This scam is all about getting crypto for bail. The caller apparently uses these high-pressure tactics to demand crypto, like a Bitcoin, to get a family member out of jail. The Sheriff's Office is reminding people here a legit government office would not ask for a payment in crypto. Cryptocurrency transactions, meanwhile, they can't be reversed once it's confirmed to have gone through. Wake County is noting scammers know that, and they're hoping to take advantage of it. If you're unsure here if a request is real or is it fake, what's going on, Wake County recommends hanging up and calling someone you trust.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, Food Lion has been hit by a cyber attack. The parent company reached out to law enforcement late last week to notify them about this. In a statement, Food Lion says that they've had to take some of their systems offline and services like pharmacies and e-commerce operations have been affected. But it's important to note that stores are still open. 5 on Your Side has reached out to Food Lion to get more specifics on exactly which systems are offline and what customer information may have been compromised. We'll let you know as soon as we hear back.
Michelle, thanks. Well, let's take a look at stocks now. After a wild record-setting week, investors continue to bet on President-elect Trump's agenda. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up 360 points, S&P 500 also in the green territory, advancing 13 points. The NASDAQ is the only outlier, down 7 points at this hour.
Next at noon, work is underway to decorate the 74-foot-tall Norway spruce in Rockefeller Plaza in New York. How many crystals and lights will dress that Christmas tree?
Also remembering Judith Jamison, what the trailblazing dancer and artistic director meant to the arts community.
Plus, on this Veterans Day, how you can offer support to all those who have served in the U.S. military.
Watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
And back here in the WRAL Live Center, President-elect Donald Trump is naming longtime advisor Stephen Miller as his chief of policy in his new administration. VP-elect J.D. Vance posted a message of congratulations on X, saying this is another fantastic pick by the president. Miller was a senior advisor in Trump's first term and has been a central figure in many of his policy decisions. Miller helped craft many of Trump's hardline speeches and plans on immigration.
And on this Veterans Day, we want to welcome a guest who knows the difficulties of war firsthand. So Waleed Hamza and his wife Hannah, who live in Raleigh, they are here with us now to talk about a new memoir that just came out today that they've written. It's called Occupied. It's a story of survival, resilience, and redemption. And Waleed, I can't wait to unpack your story here. You're originally from Iraq. Take us back to the time when you were studying college in Iraq. This was 2003, right?
Yes, it was 2003 when the invasion happened. It was my senior year in college, and I went to college to study English and become a professional translator. So when the invasion happened, and it was time for us to act and help the country heal and get back on its feet. And my chance was to use my skills and become a translator to help rebuild the country.
But in a way, you're caught between two worlds in that sense, right?
Yes.
Your Iraqi self, but also helping the U.S.
Yes. So the only chance was obviously the only people that needs translation was the military at that time. So my job was to help them understand the culture, understand the situation. There are a lot of situations that happen over there that could be fatal in some situations. So you got to be quick about it, and you got to jump in and just fill in the gap and help both sides understand what's going on.
And Waleed, how did that experience lead you eventually to the U.S. and North Carolina?
Right. So unfortunately, after the first year, things turned sideways in Iraq, and as translators, we were hunted down by the terrorists, and we were taking a lot of losses there. So life became difficult for me over there in Iraq. So in 2010, I was able to come to the United States, and the only thing I was know how to do was be in the military. So I went in to serve here as a soldier in the U.S. Army, and I got the opportunity to do that, being part of the 82nd Airborne Division.
So eventually made your way to Fort Bragg, and you met Hannah here, who wrote this story as you were telling this story. Hannah, why did you feel that it was important to put his story into words and onto paper?
Yeah, I feel like it's been a long journey for Waleed of really 10 years of war, and then the journey of coming back and healing from that. So this is a story that I felt like needed to be told. He felt like needed to be told to help other veterans and soldiers who have gone through similar things that, trauma, to really give them hope and healing. And Waleed has a unique experience, not only being a U.S. soldier, but also being an Iraqi translator. So it's a pretty unique perspective. We hear a lot of war stories, but never from a particular character like this one.
Well, thank you so much for your service, Waleed, and would love to hear so much more. But see, this is what the book is for. Yes. This is why you can read Occupied, and you can get it at any bookstore and online. And there's actually a book signing tonight in Raleigh at 6:30 at Bayo's Book and Brews on Creedmoor Road, and veterans will receive a free signed copies of the book. Thank you so much for talking with us and sharing your insights with us.
Thank you so much for having us.
What an amazing journey from both of you. Thanks for coming in. It is beginning to look a lot like Christmas in New York City. This is a live look right now. 30 Rockefeller Center, where work is underway to decorate that 74-foot tall Norway spruce. All the scaffolding is up there. Workers installed the tree Saturday. By the numbers, this will be dressed with more than 50,000 multicolored LED lights, capped with a 900-pound Swarovski star containing 3 million crystals. The tree will be lit December 4th. Up north, it's feeling a little more like Christmas time, but not here yet.
That is so neat. I mean,
neat?
as many times as, we take a shot of that's
right.
live, I don't think I've ever seen it in progress with the scaffolding. I mean, that's involved.
Takes a bunch of people.
They're not messing around. I mean, it always looks so pretty, and you wonder, how did they do that?
They're zhuzhing that thing up right now.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, we haven't had anything really that feels too much like the holidays lately, especially over the weekend. It was just nice and comfortable, a little bit cool in the mornings, but we have not yet had our first freeze, and we are certainly running behind the average. We had some showers this morning and overnight last night. You can see that last bit of rain moving on out. We do still have some cloud cover currently, but as we get through the afternoon, we should see a bit more sunshine. We take a look at our satellite and radar picture. We're going to widen out the view, and you can see this cold front. It's moving through right now, so until that moves past us, we may not see a whole lot of sunshine, but it's on its way through. We don't have any more rain associated with it, and we should start to clear out nicely on the other side of that. And Futurecast definitely shows that for us. And once we get to, say, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we start to clear, and it should be clear overnight tonight, and that will allow our temperatures to start falling. This is a live look at Apex with cloud cover, but temperatures are feeling comfortable right now, and nobody's bundled up out there. Temperatures are in the mid-60s, which is actually normal. That's our normal high for today. But with some sunshine, we could pop all the way up to 75, and certainly that would feel really nice. It is 73 in Fayetteville and 70 in Clinton, 75 in Goldsboro. That's where we started to see some sunshine, but we're still under the clouds in the Triangle area. 24-hour temperature change anywhere from just a few degrees to 9 to 12 degrees warmer in some places than it was yesterday. But we're about to switch that around. Our temperatures today, mid-70s in Durham and Raleigh, as well as Fayetteville, with increasing sunshine. But we are likely to see a big cool down with another front that comes in the next 24 hours. Before we go any further, this is just such a wonderful photo. Sheila Clayton sent us this from Roxborough. She's got the flag there. Of course, it's Veterans Day, the flag and the sunset. Just a beautiful scene there in Roxborough. Thanks for sending us that one. It's just lovely. WRAL.com, search Weather Watchers, and you can send us some of your photos too. We would love to see them. So we have colder air that will start to move in tomorrow. You can see that flow coming out of the north. That's one front. We have a front that'll come through on Thursday. That's going to lock in even more cool air. It's not going to be bitterly cold, but we're going to see our temperatures feeling, a lot cooler than we did, say, over the weekend or last week. For Wednesday morning, 32 in Roxborough, 34 in South Hill, mid-30s for Durham, Rocky Mount, Wilson, and then some slightly warmer temperatures to the south. But that's going to be our best shot at seeing some patchy frost, but this is not going to be a deep freeze for most of us. We might hit 32 up in Roxborough, but most of us are going to stay above freezing. And then after that, it's chilly Thursday through Sunday, but we're not going to be down toward freezing. So how close are we to that first freeze? Well, it's not in our 7-day forecast, so, we keep ticking along here. The latest on record at RDU is November 28th, back in 2009. That's since 1931. So I don't know, we might tie or break that record. Who knows? It's definitely going to be chilly, especially Wednesday and Thursday. We talked about that at the beginning of the newscast. On Thursday, we also have some rain in the forecast. We need more rain. I'll show you how much we could see coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. Technology advancements are helping veterans in their return to civilian life. How the new developments are combating PTSD and stopping veteran suicide. That at 4.
Then at 5:30, local doctors are seeing an increase in certain strains of pneumonia in children. What signs you need to look out for and when it's time to take your child to the hospital for care. Plus, still ahead this noon, The Voice enlists a familiar face and a legendary rocker to serve as mega mentors for contestants. Here's a bit of trivia. His real name is Gordon Matthew Thomas Sumner.
Also, when it comes to holiday shipping, small businesses could come out on top this year. The factors contributing to deep discounts on delivery. Welcome back. A pretty mix of sun and clouds there in Fayetteville, and we will warm up to the mid-70s. You're watching WRAL News live, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
NBC's The Voice moves into the knockout round tonight, and a couple big names will join the show as mega mentors. Former coach Jennifer Hudson returns for mentoring duty, but the other is brand new to the Voice experience. Mark Barger talked to Sting about joining the show.
Are we matching today? 2020? What's happening? Twin?
I didn't get the memo. I'm in the wrong color.
But Sting was in the right place to be one of 2 mega mentors, along with Jennifer Hudson, as The Voice's knockouts begin tonight.
I was a little nervous coming in because, I don't really know what to say.
But the 17-time Grammy winner figured it out pretty quickly.
The essence of all music is surprise. When you approach a song, look for something different every time you sing the song. But that tiny little thing you say suddenly it flowers. And that's exciting.
It turns the Voice stage into a unique classroom.
these students paying attention. They want to listen to everything that you say, and they want to put it in effect to see if it actually works.
Having Sting on board was a special thrill for Gwen. She's known him since her teens, and they've performed together numerous times.
I keep running into him my whole life over and over again, so I'm so lucky.
I'm not complaining.
And he applauds the artist's courage for even competing on The Voice, something he would have never done.
No. I wouldn't have dared.
It's a quick answer.
It's actually much easier just to stand up in a pub and start singing than actually put yourself in a competition.
This competition intensifies starting tonight.
All kinds of perspectives there. Jennifer Hudson will serve as the mentor for Michael Bublé and Reba McEntire. In case you're wondering, Hudson will once again be flinging footwear.
Yes! Yes! I got a shoe thrown at me. I throw mine too, but I can't get it off.
So Michael owed me a shoe, and so does Reba. Okay, because I lost 2 shoes today on their contestants. But that's a compliment. So if I throw a shoe, if you didn't know, that's a compliment. That's like a standing ovation.
Just make sure to duck. Later this month, you'll hear Sting and Snoop Dogg team up for a song on Snoop's new album, Missionary. It's a song inspired by the Police's hit, Message in a Bottle. The Voice airs tonight at 8, right here on WRAL.
What a group there, right? Trailblazing dancer, choreographer, and artistic director for the Alvin Ailey Dance Theater, Judith Jamison, has died. A spokesperson for the dance company says she died Saturday after a brief illness. Jamison began dancing at age 6. She joined the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater in 1965 at a time when black dancers were rare in ballet. Jamison went on to perform in some of Ailey's most prized works, including Cry and Revelations. She took on the role of artistic director in 1989 when Ailey died. Jamison received many honors, including a Kennedy Center honor and National Medal of Arts. Jamison was 81 years old.
There is so much more to Veterans Day than a day off work or out of school. It's a time to recognize all those who've served in the U.S. military. And after the break, how you can help veterans cope with their emotions.
The change in seasons can bring new dangers for drivers around the Triangle. We'll examine how the forecast could impact your commute. And here are your winning NC Education lottery numbers. Back in a moment.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Today is Veterans Day, a time to recognize all those who have served in the U.S. military. But this day can also bring up a flood of emotions for some service members.
Mandy Gaither explains why and also shares how we can all support veterans today and in the days ahead.
It's a day to honor veterans' service, sacrifice, and contributions to this country. But for some, it can be bittersweet.
It becomes very, very personal for a lot of people, especially when they've lost friends and loved ones.
Dr. Charles Weber is a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel, psychiatrist, and founder of Family Care Center, which provides mental health support to veterans and their families. He says those who have been deployed to combat zones can have an especially hard time being forced to face certain feelings.
I think a lot of it is a struggle for each one of the individual veterans that kind of get to marinate in some of their past and some of their past loss.
Weber says it's okay to thank a veteran you don't know well, but he says if a loved one has served, to get personal with your gratitude, give them your time, guide them to helpful resources, and help them stay connected to others.
If you know of a vet and they're isolating and they're staying away or they're kind of holding up, is to really do more than thank you for your service, is to kind of reach out, checking up on them, inviting them to that barbecue, inviting them to that time to kind of reconnect with that which we've sacrificed for.
Mandy Gaither reporting, and like you heard in the story there, Weber says making room for veterans in your life can also help erase stigma, he says, is around some service members, especially those who struggle with mental health issues like post-traumatic stress disorder.
We are saluting our nation's veterans, those who serve or who have served, as well as the loved ones at home who support them. You can honor the veteran in your life by sharing a photo with us. Just scan the QR code on your screen or head to WRAL.com/your voice, and we'll be showing the pictures all day long. Veterans Day began as Armistice Day, which marked the end of World War I. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron paid tribute to their fallen soldiers. The remembrance began with 2 minutes of silence across the UK and in Europe. And then both leaders laid wreaths in Paris, a symbol of the United Kingdom and France's ongoing friendship. The armistice, signed in France in 1918, ended the war. And now countries around the world celebrate the day in honor of the soldiers who sacrificed their lives.
President-elect Donald Trump named New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik as his pick for UN ambassador. The House Republican Conference chair has for years been one of Trump's staunchest supporters in Congress. Her appointment could lead to an issue in the House, as control of that chamber is expected to be razor thin for the party in power. In a statement, Trump called her an incredibly strong, tough, and smart America First fighter. And this weekend, President-elect named Tom Homan as his border czar. Homan served as acting director of ICE during Trump's first term in office. Homan is a visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation, the conservative group behind Project 2025.
The White House is racing to dole out remaining funds from key legislation President Biden signed before President-elect Trump takes office. And that includes finalizing agreements between the Commerce Department and manufacturing companies for federal semiconductor subsidies. The funding also includes money and weapons to Ukraine and allocating grants for climate initiatives. On the topic of climate change, world leaders are gathering in Azerbaijan, a country directly north of Iran, for climate talks. But demonstrators say climate justice is not possible without human rights. The peaceful protesters call for a ceasefire in Gaza. More than 190 countries are there to update their country's guidelines in addressing climate change.
First major snow of the season fell in Colorado. It dumped a whole bunch of snow, up to 18 inches in some areas of Colorado, and it's starting to melt now in some areas. But with all of that snow, some people there hope to see some widespread benefits as well. Angeline McCall explains.
As quickly as it came, the snow is disappearing in Denver.
It's a historic storm. This is, I think, the third biggest storm we've ever had in November since we've been keeping records.
9 News meteorologist Kathy Sabin says this marks the 11th largest storm in Colorado since record keeping began. Denver typically gets about 60 inches of snow on average during the winter. With 20 inches at DIA, it's about a third of what we usually see all season.
But for our neighbors to the south, Kiowa, Elizabeth, Eastern Parker, Lyman, areas out on the plains that got the 40 inches and had the 4 and 5 foot drifts, yeah, they probably got half to maybe a full winter's worth of snow with this storm.
And even in November, it felt like a spring storm with that heavy, wet snow. Most snowfalls have about 1 inch of water in every 10 inches of snow. Not this one.
We think this had maybe 2 or 3 inches of water in that 10-inch snowfall because it was just so wet and so heavy and so beneficial in a time where we've been talking about prolonged period of drought, record high temperatures, and fire danger. So this storm came at the right time.
The next drought map will come out Thursday, hopefully with some relief for Denver, Greeley, Fort Collins, and the foothills that are currently in extreme drought conditions.
Yeah, this is definitely one for the record books and so welcome. Wow, do we need this moisture.
The first official snow of the season, and something that isn't all that unusual to meteorologists who have seen this before.
It's been a long time since I've seen a storm like this in the month of November, but I'm not surprised because November was always one of those months we had to watch for big storms.
And still to come on this newscast, if you have one of these portable power stations, do not use it. The risk it poses after authorities say it killed a man and injured others.
And thieves and shoplifters are racking up huge costs for retailers. The eye-popping number in lost revenue nationwide and how it affects you as a shopper. Remember, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device.
Retail losses from theft are projected to increase over the next few years. That's despite improving safety and security measures. Theft is expected to cost the retail industry $140 billion by 2025. One industry analyst says that number to increase to $150 billion by 2026. Retailers lost $121.6 billion in stolen gross revenues last year. FedEx and UPS are ramping up the price war ahead of the holiday shipping season. Tighter competition is forcing both companies to adopt new price strategies to appeal to smaller businesses. Thanksgiving falls later this year, which reduces peak shipping time between Black Friday and the end of the year. And that's translating into discounts for some delivery services in order to stay competitive.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission is recalling thousands of portable power stations due to a fire risk. The recall involves Halo 1000 portable power stations with lithium-ion batteries. They were sold from October 2021 to March 2022. A 79-year-old Florida man died of smoke inhalation after a fire involving one of these devices. There have also been 4 other reports of fires, including some smoke inhalation and burn injuries. If you own one, stop using it immediately and contact Halo for a free replacement. Pompeii is the last international destination to limit visitors. When Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD, the volcano spewed out hot gases and ash into the air, killing most of Pompeii's inhabitants. The site has long been a popular tourist attraction with more than 4 million visitors this summer. Starting Friday, though, the daily number of ticketed visitors will be capped at 20,000 people.
When you think of weather-related road hazards, ice, snow, and rain might come to mind. After the break, we'll unpack some of the ways the weather can prove dangerous for drivers in the Triangle.
Some inmates are charting a new course thanks to a new program. How organizers hope the principles learned on the greens will help them prepare for life outside of prison. Education, money, and safety are 3 big issues every family is concerned about. And when it comes to safety, WRAL Investigates found a troubling trend when it comes to safety in Wake County. Senior producer Randall Kerr's here with us now, went through that data and joins us with a preview of the story that's going to air tonight at 6. Randall, what did you find?
So we went through 5 years of arrest data in Wake County and found a big increase in the number of crimes committed here by people from Durham. And we understand crime doesn't know town or county borders, but the numbers don't lie. As for the victims, the impact is the same no matter where the suspect is from.
We are now actively looking for a security system.
Yeah. From a string of home break-ins targeting people in western Wake County to a chase in the northern part of the county following a theft from a Walmart to a wild, Wild West shootout in a crowded parking lot of Raleigh's Crabtree Valley Mall, all of the suspects in these recent cases are from Durham. Following those crimes, we went through data and found it just wasn't a coincidence, but a growing trend. Tonight at 6, we'll break down the data to show you which areas in Wake County are targeted the most.
And Randall, you mentioned that crime doesn't know borders, obviously, but is there can anything be done to stop it?
So look, we reached out to the police chiefs in the story in Wake County that we focused on. We also reached out to Durham police to see what they're doing. You'll hear their responses tonight at 6.
All right, look forward to it. Randall, thanks.
Jeff, thanks.
A new study from the auto accident team shows the Raleigh and Cary areas are among the worst areas in the country to drive during the fall. Meteorologist Chris Michaels shows us the 3 reasons why and what specifically we should be looking for in the next week or 2.
So driving in the fall, there are 3 main things that we've got to look out for in this study. Kind of mentioned the solar glare, especially early as you're driving to the east or early in the afternoon when you're driving west. And I don't know about you guys, but I keep seeing deer all over the place when I'm driving into work early in the morning. Another thing we need to keep in mind, though, is the fallen leaves on wet roads. That can make things a little bit worse, and we're starting to see more leaf drop. We're getting close to peak as of the latest outlook from Explore Fall. But now as you look toward the next 7 days, days, we're going to start to move past peak, and you'll start to see more leaves dropping, especially as we see some chances for rain this week, which is needed, and we also see some of those fall breezes. Nothing extreme, but gusts of 10 to 20 miles per hour will start to blow more leaves onto the roads, and especially by Thursday could make things a little bit slick out there. Now, some studies have found that an average car, when you're driving 40 miles per hour, takes about 80 feet to come to a complete stop. That distance doubles when the road is wet, and then it nearly triples when the road is wet, and you've got leaves on the road as well. So just something to keep in mind here, especially as we go throughout the next couple of weeks. We've got a link to that study that says that Raleigh and Cary are the worst in the country when it comes to driving in the fall. That link right now on WRAL.com.
All right, so always stay alert no matter what the season is, and it's certainly starting to feel like fall a little more with that cold front moving in. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with our changing weather.
You might need a jacket all day on Wednesday and Thursday as we see some really chilly air start to work its way in, but it's pretty comfortable out there right now. We have some sunshine in Fayetteville, and the temperatures have climbed on up into the 70s, so it feels good there. We're pretty cloudy there over North Hills and Raleigh, still some cloud cover across Apex and Chapel Hill as well. Chapel Hill courtesy of Top of the Hill restaurant. But we do have just sort of a thin deck of clouds, and that should be breaking up here over the next couple of hours. We take a look at radar. We checked in with it first thing, and at this point, boy, all that rain has moved almost completely off the coast. So no more rain to have to worry about today. We'll just see some gradual clearing. Taking a look at the Dix Park camera, you can see just a little blue starting to peek through. We saw some much needed rain last night. We had through about 0.4 of an inch, so just under a half an inch of rain. And this is an interesting stat. For the entire month of October into, they say, all the way to this point of November, we'd only seen 0.15. And so we've seen a lot of rain compared to what we've seen in the last, say, 40 days or so. So still, we need a lot more rain, really. We need, several inches of rain. We've started to move back into abnormally dry conditions across the entire state. We have a cold front that'll be moving through, and that will help to drop our temperatures a little bit for tonight and tomorrow, but we'll have an even bigger drop with a second dry front that comes through on Tuesday night. We're not watching any more rain, however, until Thursday. So Thursday's front, when it comes through, it's going to have a nice tap of some Gulf moisture and should bring us, at least some measurable rain. Here's today's front, and you can see it moving across North Carolina. This is the dry front that'll drop some cooler air that'll bring us into the 50s on Wednesday and Thursday and bring us a really chilly start to the day on Wednesday with 30s fairly widespread. This is a look at Thursday's weather pattern. Thursday, the European model is pretty bullish on this, with a big, powerful low with a good chance for rain. The GFS has a weaker low, which would bring lesser amounts of rain. So we're looking at maybe, a quarter of an inch or so with that on Thursday. Hopefully, the European will be right, and it'll be, a little more beefy and help to bring us a better chance for rain. It's a 60% chance for us on Thursday, but we can have a 60% chance, and the amounts can be light. That 60% means how much of our viewing area will actually see any measurable rain at all. That measurable rain could be just a trace. Tropical outlook bumping up today. We started the day at 30% in the next 7 days, and now it's up to 50% and a 10% chance in the next 2 days. We've noticed that the GFS model has started to pick up on this storm developing. This is going to take it out to Sunday. So today's Monday. This is going to be the very end of this week, but you can start to see some development there down in the Caribbean. Very slowly it could develop, moving past the Yucatan Peninsula and out into the Gulf of Mexico by the middle of the following week. So we're talking about a week and a half from now. Guaranteed that we'll see this changing, and it's certainly, a good possibility that the GFS will drop this completely. But anyway, just kind of a gee whiz. Oh, we might have another tropical system develop out there. The best chance of rain this week will be Thursday. Of course, a high of just 56, so that's going to be kind of an uncomfortable day. But right now, next weekend looks nice with upper 60s to around 70 with some sunshine.
Okay. Golf is you against yourself, and it teaches you to kind of, I don't want to say follow the rules, but it teaches you integrity.
It does that, trust me. Coming up, we'll take you to a corrections facility where the game of golf is teaching inmates to play by the rules of life.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. The Northampton County Sheriff's Office is investigating the murder of a couple near Gaston. 72-year-old Michael Powell and his 70-year-old wife Carolyn were found shot to death in their front yard last week. Deputies from the Northampton County Sheriff's Office arrested 35-year-old Riveri's Butcher of Gaston. Investigators say he was a neighbor and relative of the Powells.
This morning, a long-standing tradition honoring veterans took place in Raleigh. People gathered for an honor from the NC State's bell tower. The tower features the 24 names of alums who died while serving the country. After the run, a brief ceremony was held to mark NC State's military history and honor the service of all students, staff, faculty, and alumni veterans.
Food Lion has been hit by a cyber attack. Their parent company detected the issue late last week and reached out to law enforcement. In a statement, Food Lion said they've had to take some of their systems offline, and services like pharmacies and e-commerce operations have been affected. Stores are still open.
A corrections facility is using the firm rules of the gentleman's game to help inmates turn their lives around. A facility in Washington State launched the first ever staff-led golf program. The program uses the principles to develop discipline, patience, and character. Leaders hope their accomplishments, as well as penalties for rules violations, translate to how they live their lives the rest of their life.
Some people were like, "You're joking, right? You're not really doing this." And I was like, "No, I am. Come and check it out." We have to do the right thing when nobody's looking.
Oh, there we go.
We're in the middle of a forest, golfing and telling each other dad jokes in a prison.
Yeah, the program has a waiting list of other inmates eager to take part.
Our pet of the day is a sweet girl from Love Mutts Rescue. Ruthie is 10 months old, weighs about 40 pounds. Here's her picture. She is gentle with small children and loves playing with her foster's 2 dogs. She also does well with cats. Ruthie sleeps through the night in her crate and even understands the snooze button. DNA shows German Shepherd, Beagle, Chihuahua, and a little Cocker Spaniel in her mix. She has an unusual heart issue, but it doesn't limit her activities. She just needs daily medicine. You can contact Love Mutts Rescue to meet her and learn more about how you can adopt Ruthie.
Oh, Ruthie, gentle with small children. That means she's good with everyone, pretty much.
Are you going to hit the golf course today and learn a little discipline and patience and character?
It is in the 70s. I mean, goodness,
right?
It'd be a decent day to do it before it gets cold later in the week. But yeah, it is. It's true. If you cheat, then you're only cheating yourself in golf.
Integrity right here. It's all that golf you're playing.
I'm glad you think that.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You can always get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Thank all the veterans out there for their service when you see them today.
Happy Veterans Day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 13.